our Welshman, Dion Edwards, on stand number 4. Carlton Aranui on stand number 3. George Smith on stand number 2. And Hugh DeLacy on stand number 1. Heat number 2 and 3 be ready to go. Mark Radmore, Joel Richards, Jade Crystal, Tegwin Bradley, Russell Mason, Neil Bryant. Heat 3 will be Josh Baum, Hemi Lambert, Wairarapa Rangiafa, Nick Greaves, Johnny Burkholt and Laura Bradley. So a chance for these young shearers now to show their wares to the rest of the country. They've made the semi-final. One more step to that big shearing final tomorrow for them. So we're going to really work on these guys and get them up to scratch. They're going to go hard over 4 sheep. So we have a green light. Shearers to the board, please. Beautiful second shear sheep here at Masterton for the 2014 competition. We're ready to rock it. Stand number 3, please. We're just going to progress right throughout the day. If you want to get a meal break, go to the canteen. We're going to carry on all the way through. We have the green light. Timekeepers right. Judges, competitors, go. Well, Hugh, you've had a little bit of a break in the last hour or so. Regained your composure and got away from the pressing scene. Now back to the shearing. And how do you see it from a Welsh perspective?
Oh, well, it's great to see a lot of good competitors up on this board. These are the future champions, ladies and gentlemen. They'll work their way up through the grades. We've seen a lot of open shearers work their way through. Roland Smith, of course, last year won the big one. He won the open and he'd won the juniors as well. So we got Hugh DeLacy from Cheviot on stand number 1. George Smith from Wakaretu on stand number 2. Carlton Aranui from Raupanga on stand number 3. Dion Edwards, he's from Ruffin in North Wales on stand number 4. We got Hevin Rowlands, he spends his time between North Wales and Mid Wales. Llanbad and Fynydd in Radnorshire on stand number 5. And Lionel Taumata, he's from Puckarau. He's been spending a lot of time down in the South Island. So these boys now, ladies and gentlemen, all shearing in the juniors, all doing a beautiful job. Hugh DeLacy on 1. We've seen a fair bit of him in the North Island in these junior competitions. George Smith on 2. It's great to see him having a crack. Carlton Aranui, he's been doing a fair bit of winning in this, the junior grade, in the previous shows. Then we got Dion Edwards, a young Welshman. He's been doing a bit of winning. You know, both sides of the water over in the UK as well. Hevin Rowlands, a young up-and-coming shearer on stand number 5. He's been shearing all over the world. He was over in Norway in our autumn, which would be your spring. And then Lionel Taumata, he's been doing a bit of winning as well. So it's a good, strong class in this, the primary ITO-sponsored junior shearing event. And I know we've got a lot of shearers having a good look. They'll be watching us all over the world as well, John.
Well, that's the power of the old camera, isn't it? You can shoot your Skypes, your stuff all around the world now. A little bit above my head, but there's certainly a change of gear now coming up here on stand number 3. Wasn't happy with that handpiece. These sheep are nice and round. You need to get on with the job and keep the comb flat on the skin. Down there on stand number 5. Roland's a little bit of trouble getting that last bit of fluff off. Here, DeLacy on the front stand. Out the last leg he comes. Likewise as George Smith rocks across that final leg down the chute. He's about to line up. 1 blow to go. Edwards steps in there, the Welshman on stand number 4. But at the pacemaker at the moment. Looks like it's the Raupanga man. Carlton Aranui Over the top he comes. He's 3 or 4 blows in front of Lionel Taumata. He's a big strong chap down there on the far end. With a bit of luck, he'll get the sheep to sit for him and start to flow with the motion shortly. Sheep number 2 on the board for all the shearers. They've got 4 of these woolies to shear. And these sheep are supplied by Puparangi. So into the long blow is our man in the front, Raupanga's man. Ooh, we've got a bit of a fighter up here in the front stand. They kick and lash, but we've got the safety gear in the Lister machines. If they hit the drop over their foot, the hand piece will disengage. Turning for home now, on stand number 3, Carlton Aranui. Over the shoulder, he's about to flow. Closest to him is the man on stand number 6. You're pretty quiet. Come on, you young shearers. You should be helping out your mate up here on the board. Coming off the long blow, the last side. We call it the money side of the sheep. Because then when he gets down to the bottom end and gone out that last leg, ching will go the old cash register again. Out the last leg now for Raupunga man, Aranui on the last leg. Beautiful style, rocking the sheep. He's just mesmerising that sheep with a bit of motion of his left hand. Down the chute it goes, and he brings out another one, Hugh. I think he's got things under control here in the middle of the stand.
Yeah, I think he has, John. He's got the 3rd sheep on the board, 1 left in that 10. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, our judges on the front in those blue shirts and ties are looking for any second cuts, for any belly wool that isn't taken off properly, or if the belly isn't thrown out, and any other misdemeanors. Then we've got judges out the back that are looking for any skin cuts or grazes, any wool or tassels left on, and the finished sheep. And then we combine that together then with the speed stakes and those speed points, and then we combine them all together, and the lowest score will win. So you can see those, the points as they come out up on the big screen up above there, and then we've got the live video feed is on the right hand side. That's what the world is seeing on the internet, and it's great to see that live streaming, ladies and gentlemen, because I know there's a lot of people worldwide looking on and really supporting the Golden Shears in 2014. So we got Carlton Aranui now then dropping down into that first front shoulder, just about to start onto those long blows, and he'll step over. Where's Lionel Taumata from Pukekohe there on stand number 6? He's right up there with him. The 2 Welshmen are pretty much blow for blow on stands 4 and 5. Dion Edwards and Hevin Rowlands. Up the neck goes Dion Edwards. Up the neck goes Hevin Rowlands. George Smith, he's going into that back leg and undermine. Hugh DeLacy from Cheviot, he's going up the neck. But Carlton Aranui, he's got a good lead there coming down the last side, John.
Yeah, they're coming across the shoulder. He's got the rhythm, and that's what counts. As the sheep got to let him perform. He steals down the last side, but a couple of quick blows from a man down, Lionel Taumata on stand number 6, and he's picked up the pace a little bit. I always thought he would go with the flow, and the further he gone, the better he'll go. And he comes under the shoulder. There's a little bit of a struggle for Aranui now on stand number 3. Taumata picks him up, and he rocks out that last leg. Coming onto the pace now is Dion Edwards there in the middle. On stand number 4, the Welshman, over the shoulder and down and out to the flank. To the top of the shoulder on stand number 5 is Rowlands, rocking across the last side. In the pen now on stand 6 and stand 3, pretty much together. Carlton and Lionel right there. Hugh DeLacy down the last side. Some of these shearers have changed the gear already. They reckon, let's try another comb. Maybe just a little bit sharp. The old one, they don't want to bruise the skin, because the judges will pick it up for sure. Down the last side they come on. George Smith with Wairarapa over the last shoulder. Up over the top of the middle stand. Top not off. He's got 3 or 4 blows on Taumata at the moment. Down on stand number 6. But they're still very close together. Under the shoulder, Smith, he'll be the last one to get sheep number 4 on the board. Don't panic, keep the quality right. And it's showing up there on that big screen. Look at the board points, an average of half a second cut on one of those names up there. There you he's doing very, very well. Got a 7.5 out the back, so he's leaving a bit on perhaps. And a little bit of fluff and a couple of ridges. Doesn't take much to make the old judges wake up down the bottom there. They're very, very sharp-eyed. So when those yellow scores come up at the end of this job on that screen, you'll know that's the total points. Here we go. Stand number 3, coming off the top. Taumata still throwing the big blows in down there on stand number 6. On stand number 4, we have Dean Edwards coming into the long blow. Working away likewise as DeLacy. Very, very tight here. These guys are shearing extremely well, but they don't really want to push that barrow too far. They want the quality to stay there.
Yeah, their job is very, very important, John. And Carlton Aranui now then, he's going to have his time taken first. He'll be hoping that the quality will be enough to go with the speed. As Carlton Aranui puts the finishing touches. One last little bit of a flick now, and out goes Carlton Aranui from Raupunga there on stand number 3. Give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as he finishes. And then we got Lionel Taumata from Pukerau up there on stand 6. He goes out on stand number 6 and has his time taken. Then we got Hugh DeLacy from Cheviot on stand number 1. George Smith from Wairarapa on stand number 2. Dion Edwards, the little man from up in Ruthin in North Wales. His father Gwyn will have been shouting at the computer at home in Wales as he has his time taken. And then Heaven Rowlands, he's just about to go out there on stand number 5. A very, very good quality young shearer is Heaven. And then out goes Heaven Rowlands. Hugh DeLacy from Cheviot, he's just about to put the finishing touches. He goes out on stand number 1. Then George Smith, the young fella, on stand number 2. He's turned for home, coming down that last side. Round that shoulder he comes. That sheep is just being a little bit unsettled. He'll be glad to see the back of her, ladies and gentlemen. But he'll have shown her very, very clean as well. He'll put the finishing touches. Down the last side comes George Smith now then. From Wairarapa on stand number 2. 2 more full comb widths to do. Then he'll have a little bit of a flick on top of the tail. And out he goes on stand 2. Give our first semi-final a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, great shearing, all right. As those yellow score come up, you'll just keep an eye on that. 39 looks the score to beat maybe at the moment. The next heat will be Mark Radmore, Joel Richards, Jade Crystal, Tegwin Bradley, Russell Mason and Neil Bryant. So you're looking there that George Smith, they haven't quite finished judging his sheep. He was the last to finish there in that heat. In this junior shearing, heat 1 of the semi-final, sponsored by Primary ITO. There we have all the yellow scores up there. We have it. The top one out of that was a 38.886 was Heffen Rowlands. So you keep an eye on that score and let's see how we go in the next slot, because that'll be the score to beat at this stage. You need to get perhaps a little bit lower, go a little bit faster, keep a little bit cleaner. And we've got a hosting of local and of course international flavour in our next heat as we're about to wait for the start button. Referee.
I've just been told, John, that we will be stopping after the intermediate. I'll just ask again just to make doubly sure, the most important man here, Mr. Alan Precious. When are we stopping for lunch?
Stopping for lunch immediately after this junior.
Immediately after the junior semi-final, we'll be stopping for a quick lunch. They've left it out to cool, so the judges won't need too much time to bolt it down. And then we'll be on with the intermediate semi-final after lunch. I didn't want to row off our chief referee, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Alan Precious, he's got a big job, isn't he? He actually tells us what to do, whether we listen or not.
No, we never listen, but he does tell us.
Yeah, okay, we've got the all clear, we've got the green light. Okay, timekeepers right. Judges, competitors, go. We're all go here.
Well, John, we've got another international lineup now. Young Mark Radmore from England is on stand number 1. Joel Richards from Oamaru, down south on stand number 2. Jade Crystal from Hastings is on stand number 3. Then we got Tegwin Bradley from Woodville is on stand number 4. Russell Mason from the USA is on stand number 5. And then we got Neil Bryant from Levin is on stand number 6. So another very, very good lineup of promising junior shearers up there, ladies and gentlemen. We've got one more heat left to go. And then we'll be going down to the 6 finalists from this top 18. So who's going to set a bit of pace in this one now then? I think Tegwin Bradley from Woodville, he was a top qualifier into this semi-final. He's half Welsh, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll give him a shout out as well. The man on stand number 4, up the neck he goes. His mother will be shouting at him somewhere in the stadium. His father will be sitting quietly like he normally does, and he'll give him a few tips when he comes down off the stage. But it's the man on stand number 2 then, Joel Richards from Oamaru. Long blow time for him. The others are all dropping down into that shoulder. Who's the furthest on? It's still Joel Richards as he cleans off that cheek wool. He's got to the turn. Down the last side comes the Oamaru man on stand number 2. Round that shoulder. One of the most difficult parts of the sheep to shear. But it looks like Russell Mason from the USA, the American on stand number 5. He's turned for home as well. He's not that far behind. Tegwin Bradley's right up there with him. So too is Neil Bryant. Nobody being left behind at all now. But it's the man on stand number 2 then. He looks as if he's just sliding that steel a little bit quicker than the rest of the field. Out the hind leg he goes. The American. Russell Mason on 5 says to hell with that, I'm right up there with him as well. Tegwin Bradley thinking if I don't go quicker, my sister will beat me into that final and I don't want that. Out the hind leg he goes. But it's the man on stand number 2 then. Put in the finishing touches now. In goes Joel Richards from Oamaru, John.
Yeah, he's right on the money, this fella. He's pumping himself, looking straight in, straight out on these beautiful Wairarapa tutus. Out the last leg there, we got Jade Crystal on the 3rd stand. Tegwin Bradley has a little bit of luck along the board. Forget about that, just get on with your job, Teggy boy. Go hard or go home. You've got to give it all up there on the board here today. You can't leave nothing out. Mark Redmore gets a bit of a dance from the lady on stand number 1. She sits now. He holds that leg up and he'll let it go shortly and tuck it down. Out of the road, get it out of sight. Sit it under your wrist as you go down the belly. That's the secret. Up over the long blow though. Sorry, the undermine now is Richard, but he's got some stiff competition down on stand number 6. As we got Neil Bryant. Up over the top he comes, the young fella from Levin. Ooh, he sits these sheep right on the tails, quite dangerous at the moment. The sheep don't like sitting on that bone for very long. He needs to keep it moving. Shifting the feet so the sheep just shifts on its little axis a little bit. Tegwin Bradley, round the back of the head, the young Woodville fella. Sweeping off the back of the top. Down towards the most difficult part of the sheep, I always reckon, is right about now, where you need to let go the head. You need to keep your elbow against the cheek. The wrist has got to hold the neck as well, and the arm, the hand's got to hold the leg, and he's achieved that on this sheet number 2, just like that. Jade Crystal's right with him blow for blow. Right behind him is the US of A man, Russell Mason. Turning on to the last side now is Bradley. Mason's right there. Right there is Crystal. They're about 6 blows away off the paces. Richards from Oamaru comes under the shoulder and down and out to the flank. Look out for Bryant. He's starting to get his act together down on stand number 6. Back at the field, at the back of the field here is Mark Redmore on the front stand. But he's keeping the quality right. It's all good up there. We've got a .3. We've got a .8. That's all looking pretty sharp. The left-hand side, the time column, that's calculated at 20 seconds per point. So every 20 seconds it takes you to shear a sheep, you get a point added on. Then the board points, that's the average number of second cuts per the wool fibre on the board. That's what those judges up there, they've got a little transmitter. They send that through to the computer room when they see a second cut. And of course it comes up on the screen. Then the pen points, that's how it's been judged outside. Crikey, we've got a .8 for an outside job. That is pretty sharp. Oh, hey, Jingos. Righto, you. Look at these guys. They're almost they're over halfway through the job. Most of them have all got sheep number 3 on the board bar on the front stand.
Yeah, that 0.8 out the back means that he's pretty clean, ladies and gentlemen, for his first shape. I think, if I'm right in saying, is a 3 out the back, which is a pretty clean job. That means there's nothing left for those judges to look for. They're really scratching their heads to find those points. Up the neck goes Joe Richards from Oamaru. Neil Bryant from Levin, he goes up the neck. Then we've got Jade Crystal from Hastings, he goes up the neck. Tegwin Bradley from Woodville, he goes up the neck on stand number 4. But it's still the young man on stand number 2, and he's travelled up from Oamaru. Look at him dropping down into that shoulder. A big, powerful shearer there, and he knows his way around these sheep, and he's doing the best he can. He'd love to make that big junior final. It's a real ask, ladies and gentlemen, but he'd love to make it on. Oh, that sheep, she just had a bit of a kick and a wriggle. That's allowed Jade Crystal to come right back to him now. The men on stands 2 and 3 having a battle. Then we got Neil Bryant, he's coming into the party. So too is Tegwin Bradley, but it's the men on 2 and 3 now. They've turned, they're coming around that shoulder together. Round underneath that front leg is Joel. Underneath the front leg is Jade Crystal from Hastings. Now they're pumping those blows down the last side. They're sliding that steel nice and easy. Leaving a beautiful job as well. Joel Richards from Oamaru. He puts the finishing touches to that one. One little flick and into the portal she goes. Change of steel there from the young man on stand number 2. Jade Crystal from Hastings. He's got those big arms working. Those tattoos are starting to shine. That means he's sweating, ladies and gentlemen. In he goes for sheep number 4. Tegwin Bradley. She's not playing the game there. She's just wriggling. He just settles it down. Keeps that steel moving nice and easy. He's got some terrific board points above his head there. Just as I said it went up. I won't mention him again. Neil Bryant up there in Levin. He's got sheep number 4 on the board. Tegwin Bradley brings out 4. This is another good semi-final here, John.
Oh, it certainly is, but they know there's another heat to come, so they've got to keep the pressure on themselves. The pressure on the sheep to sit still. Hold the horses, darling. I'll be finished with you in a minute, they'll be thinking. Out the last leg comes the US of A man, Russell Mason. He was right with the pace, but he slipped off a little bit. Sheep number 4 coming out for him. Sheep number 4 still in the pen for Mark Redmore, but he's keeping the job right. A little bit of just pops the head out, takes the pressure off the sheep. Quite uncomfortable now. She'll just start to move her head a little bit and be a little bit difficult to control as he tries to get that last leg out. Oh, a bit of a wriggle there on stand number 4 for Bradley. Readjust his footwork. They try to get that big undermine done so that it makes it easier on that last leg on the last side. But the pace coming on from Joel Richards still. He's over the last side now. Beautiful sheep. Look at him right. He's in unison with that sheep. Just moving across the shoulder. He's got the job pretty sussed here, by golly. He's making a lovely job. He's got a 1.5 as he comes down the last side. Still going pretty strongly on the third stand is Jade Crystal. The over the money side of the sheep from him. In the long blow down there on stand number 6 is Neil Bryant from Levin. But it's going to be Oamaru out in front at the moment. And he gets just a shade over 9 minutes for shearing those 4 good strong-willed Romanies. Beautiful stuff, these Wairarapa sheep. They've had a great summer and they're really enjoying it. And out the last leg now comes Jade Crystal. He's keeping the pressure on. That left hand's doing all the work. The right hand's only guiding the handpiece. He doesn't want to leave any ridges down that last leg, so he starts just to half comb a little bit as he goes over the tail. Let it go down the hole and hit the button. Hit the button, that's the story. You've got to stop your own clock. And he was about 30 or 35 seconds behind Joel Richards as he finished off there. Not too far behind Neil Bryant, the young fella from Levin. 2 or 3 seconds away. He's got to hit that button. He's got the blue-green, the blue light up there now. That's the story. Last side, Tegwin Bradley's right there. The US of A man, Russell Mason. Come on, stoke it off, you yank. He's got it. He's down the last side as Bradley puts his down the porthole for the judges. We got the yellow score of Joel Richards up there. He's got a 35. That's pretty handy, by golly. Jade Crystal with a 41. Let's see who can keep up with that. Over the last side now come the Englishmen as the blue lights flash down there for Russell Mason. Over the shoulder now for Redmore. All the way down as those next 6 shearers get ready for the primary ITO semi-final heat number 3. Josh Baum, Hemi Lambert, Wiramu Ragiafa, Nick Greaves, Johnny Burkholt and Laura Bradley.
Just a call too, please, intermediate semi-finalists. We'll be getting underway with that as soon as our judges have had a cup of tea and back on the board. Heat 1, Bevan Perry, Khan Coleshaw, Jack Deaver, Catherine Maloley, Simon Goss, Sean Lewis. Heat 2, Adam Morton, Marshall Guy, Ramon Smith, Darren Alexander, Dylan McGrady, Ryan Boot. Heat 3, Tan Mariaha, Alan Lloyd Jones, Nia Poo, Lyle Windlebourne, Jesse Edmonds, Larry Fleming. Those are the 3 heats for our intermediate semi-finals. So those competitors need to be ready. As soon as the junior is finished, the judges will have a cup of tea and we'll be back into it.
Good stuff here. Come on, shearers, move on to the board. Move on to the board. On stand number 6, we have Laura Bradley. Johnny Burkholt on 5. Nick Greaves on number 4. Wiramu Rangiafa on number 3. Come on, shearers, move on. Hemi Lambert on number 2 and Josh Baum on number 1. So after this event, there's going to be a mad rush for the smoko room. You got to watch those presses; they'll be in first. Then the shearing judges, crikey. So just don't muck around. We're going to be able just a very short lunch break and get back on the clock with that intermediate semi-final, which Rick has just called names of. 6 more shearers this time round to have a go at qualifying for that final. And we won't know until all the points have been added up, but whether any of these 6 are going to make it through, they've their chance now. We have the shearers on the board, please. We have a green light. We have a green light. Referee. The shearer has the right to call the referee. He feels that one sheep may have scratched itself on the grading or had a bad, uncomfortable night in the paddock. The judge is very, very tough, of course, the referee. He doesn't like to see any sheep chucked out without being shorn. The people of the trucks and the farmers and all the preparers have done their best job, and we've got the shearers on the board. Okay, looks like we're all go. Thanks, Willie. Timekeepers good. Judges, competitors, go. We're off and going, you, and let's see if these ones can get down under those low 30s to make themselves available for that final.
They'll be trying their damnedest, you can be sure of that. Josh Baum from Tikawiti on stand number 1. We saw a lot of him in the junior competitions last year, and then he's back there this year. Off comes those socks. Hemi Lambert, a young man from down Rapunga, down by Gore there. On stand number 2, he's a young man. I think he's only about 14. So he's a man with a big, big future there. Look at him, the little fella, swinging that steel. He's not giving a damn about anybody's reputation. Then we got Wirimo. How do we say that name, Joel, there on stand number 3?
Wiramu Rangiafa.
Wirimu Rangiafa on stand number 3. Nick Greaves from England on stand number 4 from Staffordshire. Then we got Johnny Buckle from Whanganui on stand number 5. And Laura Bradley again from Woodville on stand number 6. We just saw her brother shearing in the previous heat. And she'd love to get into that final as well. I'm sure the young lady, she was shearing in the novice last year, and now she stepped up to the juniors. So she's dropping down into the long blows. Everybody pretty much blow for blow along the line now then. Dropping down into the long blows. It looks like Johnny Buckholt from Whanganui is the first to step over on the long blows. He steps over. Laura steps over. Where's young Hemi Lambert? He stepped over. The Raupanga man on stand number 2. He'll get to the turn with this next one. Wirimo from Dannevirke on stand 3. He'll get to the turn. Cleans off that cheek. Down the last side he comes. Josh Baum from Tikawiti. He's a young fella as well. He's only a young man. He's still in boarding school on stand number 1. He's coming down the last side as well. His father will be really having a go at that in open competition later on. So Josh Baum from Tikawiti. Flat tack down the last side, but it's the man. It's Johnny Buckholt is the man at the minute. Out the hind leg he goes. He's got 2 more combats to do. Wirimo there on stand number 3. He's right there with him. Hemi Lambert is with him, but it's Johnny Buckholt from Whanganui. In he goes on stand number 5, John.
Yeah, they're taking a little bit of time, these guys. They're not panicking about the job. 2.5 minutes for the fastest pace down there on stand number 5 for Johnny. There's seen his father shear when he was a young fella. Now we've got the next generation coming through. Crikey, tells me I've been here far too long. But it's a pleasure to watch these young competitors get up there and battle it out with a wild animal. That's not talking about the judges, that's talking about the sheep that's between the shearer's knees. Hey, down there they go into the first off leg now. The undermine coming up on stand number 5. The undermine coming up for young Hemi Lambert from Raupanga. Very slight shearer, by golly, but he's got the style. It looks good from up here. Nick Greaves from England. He'll be pleased to make this semi-final, but he needs to go one step further to fly the English flag. Wirimo steps up the neck. Powerful shoulders on this young man. Around the back of the head. Reminds me of his Uncle Ray. Very thick across the shoulders. Super powered shearer as he will be when he gets a little bit older. Laura Bradley down there, showing all the finesse that her father's taught her from right from the day she was old enough to walk into the wool shed. Around the back of the head. Mum and Dad are here in the crowd and she's trying to make their final. She'd dearly love to be battling it out with a young brother who was in the previous heat. But she's shearing there in her own right. She says, I'm not worried about that young fella. It's my turn up here on stage. She's hiding down there on number 6. Putting the blows in, keeping the job right by the look what everything up there above. Josh Baum up here on the front. He's into the long blow. He's a big, strong young chap. Just a youngster, though, by golly. He has just ate a lot of wheat picks when he was a young fellow, and he's been shearing now for 3 or 4 seasons, having a go as he comes across the last side. Hemi Lambert, out the last leg. He's got the pressure on. He's hit the front. Rocks out the last leg. Just seems to be bent like a staple, this young fella. Tidies up the sock. Off it comes. Sheep number 2 almost finished. He's out in front by, half the last side. And that could count when we come down to making it happen. There's 5 minutes have elapsed now. The previous heat was done at about 9 minutes, Hugh. These young people have probably just slipped behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Yeah, they'll start to open their shoulders up now, John, because we got this 3rd sheep out on the board. On stands 2 and 3. The youngest man up there on the boards, Hemi Lambert from Raupanga. He's cleaning off that sock wool. Into the back leg he goes. He's a young man with a big future in this shearing game. Into the back leg he goes. He's saying, come on, you fellas, let's hurry up a bit. Into the back leg he goes. Wirimo Rangifa on there on stand number 3. He's cleaning off those socks as well. These sheep are taking a fair bit of shearing, ladies and gentlemen. But they've got to shear them clean and fast. Josh Baum, the young schoolboy, on stand number 1. I think he's 15. He's cleaning that wool around the back leg into the undermine. Hemi Lambert, the young 14-year-old, says, I've been there, done that, and I'm up the neck as well. With him there on stand number 3, he goes up the neck. Nick Greaves, the young Englishman from Stafford. Up the neck he goes on stand number 4. I'm sure he's got his family back home up in the middle of the night to watch him on this computer screen. Then we got Johnny Buckle from Whanganui on stand number 5. Laura Bradley from Woodville. Her mother will be screaming at her somewhere in the stadium to get her into that final. Into the undermine she goes. But it's the men on stands 1, 2 and 3 and 4 at the minute. And 5, he snuck in there as well. Dropping down into the shoulder. Now they'll start on the long blows. Hemi Lambert will step over. Who's the next to him? It's Swirimo there on stand number 3. He steps over. Nick Greaves steps over. Josh Barn from Tickawitty. He'll swing those big legs over there on stand number 1 as well. The big young rugby playing schoolboy on stand 1 is going to get to the turn. There's Nick Greaves. He's a little fella there on stand number 4, but he's got to the turn. He's down the last side. Wirimo there on stand number 3. He's coming down the last side as well. Down underneath that front leg. Hemi Lambert is right there with him. Nick Greaves is right with him. Out the hind leg goes Wirimo there on stand number 3. He'll be going in for sheep number 4 in only 3 blows. He's sliding that steel nice and easy there on stand number 3. Where's Hemi Lambert? He's right up there with him as well. They know what points they've got to post when they push that 4th and final sheep down the porthole, John.
Oh, there's a bit of a call in the crowd for Wairarapa here. Wairarapa here, he's out with his last sheep. Hemi, right there, he's a little bit of trouble with that one. He lost a bit of ground, but he bounces into the pen. Ever resilient, the shearer. Here comes a change of blade now for Josh Baum on the front stand. He says, I want a fresh cut. Boy, crikey, I didn't think he could get any better than he was going, but he said, I want new steel. Johnny Burkholt down there on stand number 5. He's out with sheep number 4, Laura Bradley. Just got the final touches to do on sheep number 3 now. Down on stand 6, quality still there with all these young shearers. It's magnificent to watch. What's going to happen when they get up to the open grade and they keep this quality? Boy, oh boy, they're going to be brilliant. In they go now, Laura down there for sheep number 4. But the pace, oh, it's come back here on stand number 2. The Englishman on stand number 4 has gone as well. Up the neck comes Wairarapa Rangiafa here on stand number 3. Round the back of the head for Josh Baum as well, as things have got all of a sudden got very, very tight here in the final heat of the junior, sponsored by Primary ITO. Up the neck comes the Johnny Burkholt from Wanganui. Round the back of the head he goes. Laura Bradley into the undermine now. 2 good blows down the leg and up over the tail, stretching right towards the middle of the back of the sheep. Trying not to drive it out of the wall, keeping it flat for the judges. Oh, it's looking good here. Look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, Hugh, coming under the long blow.
Yeah, they're all sticking to their work. Nick Greaves had a little bit of a kick there, but Josh Baum, he's found a little bit of pace now that he'd love to make the junior final. Again, I think it is. Down the last side he comes. Josh Barn from Tickawitty. Round that shoulder he comes. Then Hemi Lambert from Raupunga on stand number 2. Ooh, she's gone septic on him. The only time he's going to want to see her again, ladies and gentlemen, is with 2 slices of bread and a little bit of mint sauce. He's had enough of her. He'd like to shoot it down that chute. Josh Baum is coming out that hind leg now. He's going to pop that head out to give himself a bit more control. But Wirimo there on stand number 3. Out the hind leg he goes. He's got 3 more comb widths to do. Nick Greaves is coming after him. The young Englishman. Johnny Buckholt. He's coming down the last side. But out goes Josh Baum from Tickawitty on stand number 1. He looks up. He just has a little bit of a grimace. Hemi Lambert. He'll put the finishing touches. Wirimo there on stand number 3. He's gone out. Ooh, Hemi Lambert. He's using a little bit of language here that his mother wouldn't appreciate, ladies and gentlemen. But he'll put the finishing touches and get her down the porthole. Nick Greaves is finished. Johnny Buckholt up there on stand number 5. He's got a bit of a kicker. Laura Bradley from Woodville. She's coming down the last side up there on stand number 6. Rout the hind leg she goes. So these young shearers, ladies and gentlemen, are all about to finish together. Out goes Hemi on 2. Where's Johnny Buckholt? He's putting the finishing touches up there on stand number 5. Laura Bradley from Woodville, she's putting the finishing touches. Johnny Buckleton, last little bit of a flick. Out he goes on stand 5. And give Laura Bradley and all our junior semi-finalists a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, you very well, Sean. We went. The problem is we can only take 6 through to the final. So what we're going to do now, ladies and gentlemen, our judges are going to go for a quick cup of tea. We will be resuming at 1 o'clock, 1 p.m, with our first heat of the intermediate semi-final of Bevan Pere, Khan Kolshur, Jack Deaver, Catherine Maluli, Simon Goss, and Sean Lewis. Heat number 2 will be Adam Morton, Marshall Guy, Ramon Smith, Darren Alexander, Dylan McGrady, Ryan Boot. Heat 3, Tani Mariha, Alan Lloyd-Jones, Anya Prue, Lyle Winterburn, Jesse Edmonds, and Larry Fleming. So they are the intermediate semi-finalists to start at 1 o'clock sharp. Enjoy your break. We'll be back with you very, very shortly.